Hey, and welcome back to another video from my Strange Phones playlist, the playlist of videos where I showcase strange mobile devices in terms of design characteristics or features, and we jump into an engineering analysis as to why the engineers and designers chose those strange features or design characteristics and how they affect the user on a day-to-day basis. And what we have here today is the extremely rare Motorola Milestone XT720, which, as you can see, has a strange out-of-shape design, which ties into the fact that it has a Xenon flash. And now you may think that's no big deal, a phone with a Xenon flash, but this is actually the world's first Android phone with a Xenon flash, and also the world's first Motorola Android phone with a Xenon flash. This phone is also extremely rare, and it took me a while to get my hands on one, well actually two, and I can finally do a full set of videos on this phone, starting off with the Strange Phones review. So this is the Motorola Milestone XT720 here in 2023. So as always, before jumping right in, don't forget to smash that like button down below as it helps this video get on YouTube's algorithm. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and ring that bell notification button so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Also, if you have any questions or comments regarding the Motorola Milestone XT720, don't forget to leave them down in the comment section below. We can start a discussion or can answer your questions. My social media is also linked down in the description below, which includes Instagram, Discord, and Twitter. And now let's jump right into this review video. So as usual with the Strange Phones playlist, we go over a bit of history on the phone itself, and if you don't want to listen to the history section, you can jump to whichever section you like using the segmented slider bar below or the timestamps in the description down below. But as usual, let's jump into a bit of history on this phone. And the history on this phone is actually quite strange and sad actually, because this phone was completely tossed under the rug in comparison to more popular Motorola phones at the time, and phones from other brands as well. This phone went really largely unnoticed and didn't sell really well, which is somewhat due to the reason as to why this phone is very rare. I've been waiting for years to get my hands on one of these, and I finally got one last year around, I think, November of last year. I can't remember. And recently, about 3 weeks ago, I got this one for about $10. It's missing the back cover, and it still works, but it's locked. So missing the back cover and locked, I have to deal with that later. I have to just bypass the passcode. This one I got for about $50 last year, but it's with its back cover. It works perfectly fine. It was unlocked, and it's in excellent shape. So I'm really happy I finally got my hands on this phone after a very long time. Actually, probably as long as this phone was out, I wanted it. So that was what? 2010, 13 years ago. This phone, well actually roughly 12 years ago, because this phone was released in July of 2010, so it's still 12 years ago, but still a really long time ago to wait for a phone that I finally got my hands on. I remember about 4 years ago, a brand new one showed up on eBay, and that was like $500. I was not going to pay that much for a phone regardless of how rare it was, because it's not a prototype. $500 is prototype range pricing, but this phone I finally got it for $50, and that one for about $10, so I'm really happy. If you find one of these phones, definitely pick them up if you're a collector. They're very rare. So launched in July of 2010 for about a price tag of about $559 as I remember, and it has a bunch of interesting features. Of course, the Xenon flash, we'll talk about that in a bit, but a few other interesting features as well. We'll do all of those features. Let's cover all of them in the full retro style review video, which I'll do in a few weeks time, so definitely hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for that. But the basics were that it had 256 megs of RAM, a Texas Instruments processor. It wasn't updated by Motorola, weirdly. It only shipped with Android 2.1, but they refused to upgrade it to Android 2.2. But Cincinnati Bell, or Bell, the service provider, they personally went out their way to certify 2.2, which was the upgrade to 2.1 at the time. So Android 2.1, which this was stuck on, was upgraded to 2.2 by Cincinnati Bell and third-party upgraders, such as on XDA development forums. And eventually, it actually went right up to, I believe, Android 4. I want to be, yeah, it was 4.0.4. So it custom ROMmed up to Android 4.0.4. So Motorola themselves were going to keep it on 2.1, but then Cincinnati Bell, all of their phones on their network were upgraded to 2.2, and then third-party upgraders on XDA upgraded it right up to 4.0.4 unofficially. So a bit of, as usual, update controversies back in the day with, for example, like with the Motorola Atrix, Motorola not giving updates and so on. That's a thing of the past. A lot of companies do update their network locked phones. Now it's just something at the time. It was sort of a monopoly at the time, but now it's that's a thing of the past. A lot of modern phones do get good updates. So the sad part of this phone is, despite being the world's first Android phone with a Xenon flash, was completely thrown under the rug. And I honestly like the design of this phone. It looks uneven and it looks so cool. Look at it. I really like this design. 8 megapixel Xenon. It's got the camera here, 8 megapixel camera, the Xenon flash plus the infrared laser light thing, the infrared red light flash or whatever they want to call it, and the battery cover under there. Pretty interesting phone, and I can't wait to do the full retro style review on this phone. And of course, as you can see, the bump here with the camera shutter button. Of course it should have a camera shutter button. It's a camera focused phone. The camera on this phone isn't ultra great, but for what it is, we'll call it a camera phone. And in the full retro style review, we'll review the camera and everything else, but in this video we're just going to discuss the design characteristics. So yeah, just a quick history rundown on the Motorola Milestone XT720. Not much to talk about. Sadly, it was thrown under the rug in favor of other Motorola devices and other phones at the time. It wasn't very popular, hence why it's really rare to this day. And here's a big fun fact. You see this slide to unlock thing? Yeah, you see this here? This was a part of a huge lawsuit between Motorola and Apple in Germany, because slide to unlock at the time was technically an Apple patent, but yeah, it was a whole mess up there in German copyright infringement court, and Apple sued Motorola Mobility in Germany, and they won in 2 separate judgments in 2012, as of 2012, for this unlock feature, because Apple said that it was their patent rights to use slide to unlock. But yeah, this was the first phone, or one of the first phones, with a copied slide to unlock, basically copying Apple's signature slide to unlock feature. So quite an interesting phone. This thing had a bit of controversy under it, apart from the update situation, but again, it still got swept under the rug, which was quite unfortunate, again making this one of the more rarer phones that exist today. So now let's jump into the design analysis portion of the Motorola Milestone XT720. So why does it look out of shape? Now, if you've owned a point-and-shoot camera at some point, you probably already have the idea in your head and you're just waiting for me to say it out loud. It's more natural to hold it like that and have a raised position here to press the camera shutter button, the dedicated camera shutter button over there. So it's just natural camera design to have a raised portion over here for your button. Rather than having it flat on the same level, there's more confidence instilled when holding it like that. It gives you more leverage to press down on the button. Now, these aren't buttons, these just light up to show you which mode you're in, whether you're in gallery, camera, or video camera, and you cycle through it using this button over here. So you press that once, you're in gallery, you press it twice, you're in camera, and you press it again, you're in video camera. So quite interesting. You press it again, it goes back, it basically cycles through. If you go to camera, come on, there you go. So go to camera, and then you can press the camera shutter button holding it like that. Let's do that. Press it halfway to focus and press the button to take a photo. You need a memory card installed, so as you can see it says -1 there, because you need an SD card before you take the photo, but you can also cycle to video like that, and you can take a video like that as well. So that's why it has this strange bump-like thing on the side. That's just to instill more confidence in taking a photo, and basically hints at the fact that this is a camera-focused phone, even though the photos on this phone aren't that too great. And we'll review all the photo samples in the full retro style review video, which I'll upload in a week or so, so definitely stay tuned for that. And of course, we have to point out the fact that this is the world's first Android phone with a Xenon flash, and the first Motorola Android phone with a Xenon flash as well. honestly, I really love the design of this phone. The back looks industrial and nice. It's got that rubber Motorola back. It's starting to, you know, start getting sticky, but I got to it in the nick of time, and I can now maintain it at a good temperature and not get it out of hand, and basically the rubber starts falling apart. But yeah, that's exactly why it has this strange bump. That really honestly helped while holding it like that. I wouldn't complain about the fact that this thing has a bump. Here's the weird part. When you press the camera button, you'd think that you'd be able to get into the camera from any part of the phone, but you can't. It does not launch the camera. You actually have to press that button and you have to cycle through it, which is kind of annoying because it would be nice to just press that and just go straight to your camera. But yeah, Motorola didn't think that completely through. You actually have to press that and cycle through it instead of just being able to quickly launch it from the main camera button like a lot of other phones do. So that was something weird that I noticed. You can't launch it from anywhere. You have to cycle through using that small button by pressing it twice, and it's decently fast, so no problem there. But still would have been nice and makes more sense for a camera focused phone to have that as a quick launch feature. But yeah, the photos on this phone, I've seen a few. They aren't the greatest, and it's decent. But then again, that Xenon flash would have been great for nighttime photography, or just getting a set of pictures for your social gatherings or stuff like that. Of course, Xenon flashes make the photos look horrible, just artificial and just unusually lit up and stuff. But if you just need a photo taken of a group of people or something you just noticed or just like to take a photo of, the Xenon flash just gets the job done. It was the 2010s. No one really cared too much about photos in detail. Everyone had a point and shoot or some other camera by their side most of the time. But cameras in phones were getting better as time went by, and yeah, they improved on cameras. But yeah, that was just exactly why this phone has this strange shape, and that's how it ties into the fact that it's was technically marketed as a camera phone, and is the world's first Android phone and the world's first Motorola Android phone with a Xenon flash. I can't wait to do the full review on this phone, and we can jump into all the details regarding this amazing phone. And like I said, this phone is pretty rare, and I'm really lucky to have two of them. I hope I can find a back cover for this one and get it unlocked, and you may see it in the full retro style review video. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you honestly did, don't forget to smash that like button down below, as it helps this video get on YouTube's algorithm. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and ring that bell notification button so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. My social media is linked down in the description below, which includes Instagram, Discord, and Twitter. Thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video.